everyone, and thank you for joining us right here on A Wake Up Worcester. Coming up in this half hour, we're going to tell you about Canal Fest. That's on the way on Saturday, September 12th. Going to be a great day, a whole lot of fun. We'll tell you about all the great events that are going on there, and the fact there's going to be a kayak down on Harding Street. Also, we're going to tell you about the Worcester scene. Luke M. Valancourt is here to tell us what's happening all around town and about his great website, worcesterscene.com. If you haven't checked it out, do so. Wait until after the show, though. Right now, we're going to talk about Worcester CEO, the Worcester CEO Initiative. Iris, thanks for coming by. Dave, thanks you for being here as well. David, let me begin with you. Worcester CEO Initiative. A lot of people see that CEO, they think that you're the head of some major corporation. That isn't actually what CEO stands for in this case.
No, CEO stands for Coalition for Educated Options, and our tagline is putting you in charge, because our whole initiative is really to try to get new voters, voters who are registered that haven't voted in the past, and also new groups at the table for this election season, what were considered electorally isolated voters. They're voters that typically, the way campaign strategies works, are ignored. They don't show up on the candidates list, and they really have valid concerns, and they make up a large portion of the city.
They do, but David, here's the problem. And of course, I mean, it's been since since Eugene McCarthy back in in '68. Or we look at Barack Obama, and he wanted to hit some of these groups. Grace Ross running for governor, and now she's running right here in the city of Worcester for District 4 City Councilor. One of the reasons that those groups are kind of left out and that they aren't brought to the table and that their voice isn't always heard and included is because when somebody is out there and they are running for that city council spot, they've got to get those votes, they've got to get their name out there. They do get that list, right? They go down to City Hall, they get that list. Who are the super voters? Who is the guy who's got that D or that R or that I next to his name? And every single time he shows up at the polls, and no matter what, he is going to have his vote cast. I've got limited resources. I've got limited time. Who am I going to go and talk to? Am I going to go and talk to somebody that I'm going to take a chance on and bring them along? Or am I going to go and talk to the guy that I know is going to go out and vote?
Right, and it's kind of because the way the normal feedback loop works with candidates and voters is usually candidates will go to voters and present themselves and say, this is what I think the direction is. Well, really, for it to work, it needs to be the reverse. The voters need to start out by saying what they want and what they're looking for. And most of the time, many of the groups in the city, regardless of where you live, regardless of your neighborhood, your demographics, if you haven't been active in voting, you feel like you're ignored. You feel like no one cares about you. So what our initiative is trying to do is trying to really bring those voices out of the shadows. We're working with a lot of community groups who've already been doing this work. We're trying to build a citywide coalition of community groups. And, finding out the research. So it's a service to candidates, but most importantly, it's a service to the people and a service to Worcester.
Iris, having the voice of the people heard, absolutely. I mean, fundamental tenet of our democracy, and as David is pointing out, there's a lot of people who are disenfranchised. But again, I go back to, we hear this from candidate after candidate. Deval Patrick, I mean, certainly ran a campaign in which we saw people who traditionally did not come out to vote, who I think did come out to vote for Governor Patrick. How are you guys different? How are you really going to be able to see this through to make sure that these folks have their voice heard?
Well, it involves a lot of face-to-face connecting with the people. We noticed as we went to Oak Hill CDC and Maine South that a lot of people were really disconnected from the political scene, and they just needed someone to reach out to them. And we had to explain to them, and we had to be there at every step of the way. And I think that's what it counts. When you're running for office, you don't really have the time to talk one-on-one with people, but we're not running for office. We're just doing something to help out the city, so I think we have more and more time to give to the city.
Well, and probably more credibility. I mean, people will probably trust you a little bit more for exactly that. You don't want something from them. You just want them to be part of...
Especially when we say we're not with any candidate.
Right. You just want them to be part of the process. You want to have their voice heard. Tell me a little bit more about, as you've been speaking to different people, it sounds as if, are you involving some of these other groups that are out there? I mean, do you involve neighbor to neighbor? Do you involve some of the CDCs?
We do. I work mostly with Oak Hill CDC, and David works with me too. We also went to Maine South CDC. They're our next biggest challenge, and
we're working with a lot of different groups. We've talked to Quinsigamond Village Community Center. We're reaching out to Central Las Americas, Southeast Asian Coalition. We are Neighbor to Neighbor is actually on our list right now. We're meeting with the EPICA. That's another group. So we're really reaching out to everyone. Worcester Community Connections at the Worcester Community Action Council, that's another group.
A lot of groups that are all after the same thing.
Yep.
So, I mean, so if you can kind of bring them all together or be able to facilitate that, that would be terrific. Now, one of the things that you're doing, Iris, is this questionnaire. What exactly is that?
It's a community-based questionnaire, and what we're doing is we're going out into the community and we're asking voters and citizens in general what they feel should be changed about Worcester, if they have any questions about Worcester and the politics. So we've been getting some feedback.
Well, I want to hear the feedback. If you ask somebody what should be changed about Worcester, do they ask you for more paper, or I mean,
the biggest thing is they want to know about the property tax. The property tax has gone sky high, they're saying, so they want to know what the candidates are doing to maybe lower it,
right,
or maybe stop it from increasing. The second largest problem is police patrol. A lot of local businesses, small businesses, are having problems with vandalism, and they want
public safety. Yeah, almost always number one, huh? I mean, public
Yeah.
safety, and you're right about the money and tough budget times, and who's going to fix the roads. I mean, these are the things that we perennially hear. They fill out the questionnaire, and then what happens? You put it in the hands of the candidate?
We filter it. We filter it, so we get some random questions, and we check the questions, make sure they're okay. We're also gonna submit all the questions to the candidates, and hopefully the candidates will reply back in writing to us, and then we're going to post it on our website. But we're also going to have a station at every CDC, and we're going to print out the answers that each candidate replies and give them to the people, so that the people know, especially the underrepresented people, know what the candidates' positions are.
David, you're going to Clark University.
Yes.
You're very involved in student government.
Yes.
This project sounds like it is a full-time job. Iris, you're going to Holy Cross. I mean, this sounds like a full-time job in and of itself. What made you guys decide that you want to do this? And David, I'll start with you, and how you finding the time?
Well, I mean, I used to be, really active in, a lot of campaigns. I'm still, involved in politics, but this year I've kind of taken a back step from the actual political part and gone to more like the civic part. And, it's always bothered me looking at those lists and seeing, looking who I'm targeting and saying, am I really getting the whole community? And that's one of the big things. And then some just issues like the schools, that race is almost ignored, the school committee race. And there's just so many people who don't know about the issues, and that's the reason why, because the process and about, why so many people are disenfranchised, why so many people are dissatisfied, is because they're dropping out, because they're being ignored. So we want to put those people back in, know that, reactivate themselves, because they have the active voter and the inactive voters list. And we're also doing research to help people, because usually they get a lot of noise, a lot of rhetoric, from sources that aren't really credible. And so we're going to be working with some credible sources. We're going to be using only public records and, legitimate things, no spin, to try to help people answer the questions that they're looking for.
Yeah, Iris, of course, a lot of people will say that there is spin. They'll count you out as a couple of crazy lefties or tree huggers or whatever other label it is that they want to throw on you. So I'll ask you the same question that I just asked David. What made you want to get involved? I'm sure that as a college student you're busy enough. What made you decide to do this project? Just
like David, I've always been very active in my community, and I want to see a difference in Worcester. I want to see a positive difference, and I want to show that young people don't just sit at home and don't do anything, but that they're very active in their community and that they want to make a difference and they want to help out. And I feel like this is the best way to do it. Yeah, terrific. When is the questionnaire due? When is that finishing up?
We're looking for primary day as kind of our big push of trying to get the involvement and get the groups, really signed on. It's going to be, we've decided after talking to more people, they want the conversation to keep going. The more we keep talking, the more they want to find out and the more they know. So the questionnaire, we're going to get our basic one done by the primary date, 15th, because there is no primary election, so it's still giving people a voice to get out there.
Well, as you have that come back, as you have those questions ready to go, please come back here to Wake Up Worcester and let's talk about what those questions are, and if there's anybody who doesn't answer them, we'll have them on here and you guys go at them. All right, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Much more to come on Wake Up Worcester, including we're going to be talking about what's happening in the Worcester scene. What is the Worcester scene? And we'll tell you about WorcesterScene.com. Also, Canal Fest coming up on September 12th. All on the way on Wake Up Worcester.